you have wrong in your life with them, if this might be small or big, let it go. Doesn't matter. I know I curse. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
None of that stuff matters, man. This is it's about life and being precious with every damn second we have here. Because from somebody who knows who almost happened to me like that, man, it's just over. It's done randomly, arbitrarily. And you know, his 4 girls and his wife. We need to come around them and support them and help them. And the NBA should cancel all games today. I don't really know what else to say.
Yeah, we should mention there are 8 games in the NBA today. It appears as though at least the Rockets-Nuggets game is going off because they did hold a moment of silence, a moment of prayer in a sense before they tipped off this afternoon to eulogize and to remember one of the greatest players that's ever picked up a basketball. I know he impacted your life personally, professionally, way beyond the game, and you can answer this from a basketball perspective or beyond. What separated Kobe Bryant from other people?
You know, so my rookie year, I only played 1 year in the league. And my rookie year, we were playing against the championship Lakers. And it's Kobe, Shaq, that squad. And I remember I was in a slump, wasn't playing well, I was getting sidetracked throughout the season, doing things I shouldn't be doing. And, you know, pumped up about playing this guy here. And I got to the Staples Center early that day, around 2 o'clock, 2:33 to shoot and get 400 made shots. And, you know, I walk in with the ball boy, and I'm putting on my sneakers, and who do I see? I see Kobe Bryant working out so hard, like game-like moves, and watching him like, all right, thank you. No, that's my motivation for the day. That's great. I get a chance to work out when Kobe Bryant's working out. And I go and I do my workout, and I work out for about an hour and 15 minutes, and I go back on the sideline, and I unlace my shoes, and I keep hearing the ball bounce. I look down, and this guy's still going. He's still going, and it's still the same type of moves that I saw him going from the moment I walked in the gym. And I sat there and watched him for 10 minutes, and then I left. I was like, there's no way this guy's going to be able to have enough energy to play against us tonight. And that night, he just destroyed us. He destroyed us in every facet of the game. And I remember after the whole game was over, I was like, don't be that cheesy dude. Don't ask another man, like another guy, like where that drive comes from. But I couldn't help myself. I sought him out, and I found him. I said, you know, like, why? Why'd you stay and keep working out? And this line changed my life as a person. He said, because I saw you come in the gym, and I wanted you to know that no matter how hard you worked, you weren't going to outwork me. And it was one of those things where I was sitting there saying, like, who am I? Who am I? But that's just how he was. That's the cloth he was cut from. That's who he was every day in every facet of his life. You know, if it was him trying to be better, coming up with cartoons, the animated series, and winning a damn Oscar. If it was him trying to be better as a person. You know, like, I don't know every aspect about Kobe, but I know how he touched me in my life. And that moment right there was, I know my career ended short, but I carry that in everything I do. Like, that's how I attack my life. And if it's with my wife, being a better husband, if it's with my daughter, being a better dad, if it's with work, how do I work more? How do I work better? How do I work more efficiently? That's a huge part of who I am because of that moment. And I can never thank him enough for that.
Your words have been incredibly poignant. The San Antonio Spurs are going to tip off in 9 minutes. I would imagine they'll ask Greg Popovich, who's had his great duels with Kobe over the years, to talk about it after the game. As I mentioned, 8 games in the association today. The Lakers will not play today or tomorrow. They will play the Los Angeles Clippers at the Staples Center on Tuesday night, and you can only...
And also the reaction we are seeing from people to that death. How are you summing this together when you're talking to people over the last few hours?
Well, you just realize that we lost somebody very, very special. And I think that somebody said earlier that anybody associated with the NBA community, I think it was Coach Alvin Gentry at the New Orleans Pelicans, he said anybody associated with the NBA community is incredibly devastated by the loss of Kobe Bryant. He's a 5-time champion. We know all of those things. We know he was a winner. We know his dedication and his commitment to excellence. But, you know, there was life beyond basketball, and it wasn't just about him winning an Academy Award. It wasn't just about him doing detail for ESPN Plus or a plethora of other things that he was working on. He was really highlighting for basketball players, for athletes, professional athletes everywhere and beyond. that there is life after your initial aspiration has ultimately expired. You know, he wanted to be a basketball player all his life, wanted to be a superstar NBA player and a champion, and he achieved that. Well, what do you do from there, and how easy is it to make that transition? Well, Kobe Bryant was one of those folks that preached about being prepared to make that transition, preparing yourself ahead of time, understanding that it can't last forever, but if you go about the business of putting forth your due diligence and making sure that you set new goals, new things to aspire for and to pursue and ultimately to achieve, life can be just as fulfilling beyond those days of playing than you ever imagined. And it was something that he talked about on numerous occasions with athletes. If you look at a LeBron James, the Dwayne Wades of the world and others, and look at how they've evolved from being just professional athletes to being so much more than that, particularly in the business community, ask them about their relationship with Kobe Bryant. Ask them about the wisdom that he imparted upon them. Ask them about when they all went to Beijing for the 2008 Olympics and what have you, and the kind of things that he talked to them about and he religiously talked to them about, and how it served as an inspiration for them to go and extend that level of wisdom and knowledge to other people. This was who Kobe Bryant was. It was who he aspired to be. He wanted to motivate. He wanted to inspire. He wanted to make a difference far beyond the basketball court, while still reminding you that when it was his time, he did all he could to never cheat himself, never cheat the Lakers organization, never cheat the game of basketball, never cheat anybody from getting exactly what they expected from him. An all-out effort in pursuit of a level of excellence achieved by very, very few people on the planet Earth. It was who he was, it was who he wanted to be, and it was who I knew him to be, not just as a reporter that covered him, but ultimately, once he retired, somebody that I considered a genuine friend, who was clearly a friend to me. And it's devastating that he's gone, and we're all hurting right now. I just got off the phone with Shaq. Shaq was crying, and a couple of other people were just incredibly hurt by what's transpired. I know I've shed some tears. I know Jalen and others, Jay Williams and others, have shed the tears as well. It's devastating. You know, that's the best way I can put it.
Steve, I spent 10 years in Los Angeles covering the Lakers and some of the teams there in L.A. And the thing about Kobe Bryant that stood out to me, when you're in Hollywood, there are some big stars that go out, and not everybody is an A-list star. You have Jack Nicholson sitting courtside. Those are big stars. But every time Kobe Bryant walked into a room or even walked into Staples Center, he was the biggest star there, because even the biggest celebrities wanted to talk to Kobe Bryant. He was the guy that everyone was looking to be near, to talk to get a little piece of something as they walked away from him. For those watching right now who don't know necessarily the entire athletic career of Kobe Bryant and what it means to the game of basketball, put into perspective, if you would, Stephen A., in only the way that you can, how big of a star Kobe Bryant was.
Well, he was definitely a mega star. I mean, obviously there's Michael Jordan, and then you look at others, and Kobe Bryant was right there in terms of his cachet, what he meant, his signature, what he was all about, the Mamba mentality and what have you. But you got to go back, take into consideration he's at Lower Merion High School. He's at Lower Merion High School, and he's All-American. He comes straight to the pros. He's telling you he's going to be as great as Michael Jordan. And then even the great Michael Jordan, when he retired, all the names that you will bring up, he said, that guy right there, Kobe Bryant, is the guy that I look at when it comes to challenging me, because of the mentality that Kobe Bryant had. And then again, you take it beyond the court of play. As I talked to you about it earlier, you know, I'm hosting a show, quite frankly, on ESPN 2 years ago, and everybody's talking about, go ahead, do this, do those interviews, do that. You're going to be the next Oprah. And Kobe Bryant comes onto the show. He said, love Oprah, but forget all of that. It ain't about Oprah. It's Harpo. He was talking about what she owned, not what she was in front of the camera. And those are the kind of things that he constantly reminds you of when you thought your aspirations were enough, when you thought they were lofty enough to pursue, and that was it. He was always reminding you that there was so much more to achieve, and that was what was so special about him.
Stephen A., as always, appreciate the perspective on the life and legacy of Kobe Bryant, dead at the end.
Coming and coaching, you talk to players and say, you know, you've made it into the NBA, but are you going to leave a mark? When you leave, are people going to remember you, or are you just going to be one of many? And I hate to tell you this, but 99 out of 100 just drift away.
Yeah.
And it's that 1 out of 100. And Kobe's one of those guys that people remember. David Stern is one of those, the commissioner that really turned the league around. So to lose them both was sad. With David, he had lived a full life, and with Kobe, like I said, I know Kobe lived 10 lifetimes, but he was only 41. He had 10 more lifetimes to live, because I just think he was creative. He was doing different things. He wanted to win an Oscar. He wanted to win different, just different. He had different goals, and he was just taken away way too young for all that. But yeah, no, he left. Like I said, he left a mark. He was one of those 100 people or 200 people that come through the league. One of them does something unbelievably special. He was one of those guys that just did special things.
Certainly miss David Stern. We'll miss Kobe Bryant. A couple of days after the 14-year anniversary of Kobe scoring 81, less than 24 hours after LeBron James passed Kobe for third on the all-time scoring list, and just a few months shy of finding out, officially getting the rubber stamp that Kobe would be a Hall of Famer, he has died at the age of 41 in a tragic helicopter accident. Have had their own struggles and battles and overcome a lot to become champions. Earlier today, Tiger Woods joined Amanda Balionis on CBS Sports to reflect on the untimely and tragic death of Kobe Bryant.
Go ahead, Amanda.
Tiger, hearts are heavy all over the world today with the news of Kobe Bryant's passing. I know this is hard for you. He was a friend, but you wanted to say a couple words about him.
Amanda, I didn't know until Joey just told me coming off 18 green. I didn't really understand why the people in the gallery were saying doing it for Mamba. But now I understand. It's a shocker to everyone. Unbelievably sad, and one of the more tragic days that I think, well, for me, it's just the reality just kind of sitting in, because I was just told probably about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. You've been a Lakers fan your entire life. I know what Kobe meant to you. Joe LaCava says that you guys talk about him a lot on the golf course. What will you remember most about him as a player, but most importantly, as a man and father?
The fire. He burned so competitively hot, and the desire to win. He brought it each and every night on both ends of the floor. I mean, not too many guys can say that throughout NBA history, that he'd lock up on D. Obviously, he was dominant on the offensive side, but anytime he was in the game, he'd take on their best player and just shut him down for all 48 minutes. And that was one of the more impressive things, I think, throughout this entire career. And then, when he ruptured his Achilles and went to the foul line and made his shots. I mean, that's tough.
I know this wasn't easy for you. Thank you for joining us.
Go ahead, Amanda.
Tiger, heart.
All right, that is Amanda Balionis, and that is not an easy task there. So good work there by Amanda, and thank you to Tiger for weighing in there. He, Kobe crossed over, sports globally, as we've been talking about, and people admired his fire, if nothing else.
Well, absolutely. I mean, he played with an intensity that everybody admired. And hey, it's funny, I think the top guys and the guys that just the unique, we talked about, leaving a mark, which Kobe did, of course, but it touches other sports. I mean, look at Tiger Woods being a big Kobe fan. And
yeah.
I can guarantee you there's a ton of football players that were big Kobe fans. And everybody growing up watched them because people love competition. That's the one thing that everybody loves. They love competition, and they love people that love to compete. Nothing worse than two teams or two guys getting after that are not competing at the highest level. Kobe always competed, and that's what I think that to me is what sports are about, is the competition, and he thrived in that competition. So it was fantastic, and saw Tiger when Tiger had hair.
Yeah, right. We were commenting here in that picture, if we have it again, Tiger, we think of as a tall, built guy, but next to Kobe, he looked like me standing next to you.
Yeah, I was like, did Tiger grow after that picture? Yeah, he wasn't quite as big as I thought he would. But Kobe, again though, people forget how big Kobe was.
Yeah,
Same thing I tell people, Michael Jordan was like Kobe. They were big guys. They were 6'6". Yep. Long arms, and Kobe had good size to him.
One thing we have not had an opportunity to touch on yet, since you and I have come on the air, is it wasn't such a guarantee when Kobe made the announcement that he was foregoing college to come into the NBA that he would become a all-star, let alone a Hall of Famer and one of the all-time great scorers in our league. I mean, 13th pick in the draft, so it wasn't a number 1 pick. Gets traded from the Hornets to the Lakers, comes on to this team with Shaq, and they don't play him at first. Kobe, his first 2 years, was primarily a bench player. He had 7 starts over his first 2 years. It didn't take to that 3rd year, which was that lockout year, where he finally was a mainstay in the starting lineup.
Yeah, and a couple guys got hurt that year.
Yeah.
That's why he got in there and got his kind of got his feet wet and established himself. But you got to remember, he came in at 17. And this is, I don't care if you're Kobe Bryant, you're Michael Jordan, you're Wilt Chamberlain. This is no league for 17-year-olds, the NBA. It is a tough league. And it took him a while. I mean, it's hard as a rookie no matter what. I was a 22-year-old rookie coming in. And it was difficult. This league was not for young kids. And you look at him at 17, no college experience, coming out, and what he was able to do. But I think part of that sitting and part of that dying to play and not having an opportunity just fueled his fire.
Right.
And when he finally got a chance to do it, he was 3 years into his career, so he was 20, 21, more mature, started really figuring out his game. And there was, because the year before, Kevin Garnett was drafted out of high school, and everybody was like, man, that's Kevin was drafted 5th. As a matter of fact, we drafted him in Minnesota at 5, and that was a pretty. I thought Kevin would be a great player at some point. He was really young, and the next year when Kobe was coming out, I was like, oh man, how about if you draft back-to-back, high school kids on your team? You're gonna have a college team.
Yeah.
Because back then they were just so young and it didn't happen. But you're right, it wasn't a guarantee that he was gonna come in and turn the league on fire. But that just, again, his work ethic, his competitive nature, and kind of taking no prisoners. I mean, he said something in one of the interviews, we've seen so many of them, but which I like though. He said, I'm not gonna back down. They said, what are you gonna do? And he said, I know one thing, I'm not gonna back down to anybody. And that is the start of being a great player, that you accept every challenge, and it doesn't matter who's standing in front of you, you're not going to back down.
Right, and he missed some huge shots in the playoffs, particularly those in Utah, before he ever went on to make epic shots to help win NBA Finals. So
yeah, no, he did not have the easiest road.
No,
just his first few years, but then again, you know what? Those first few years for every player is more of a developmental time. Look at what he did once he got his feet wet in this league and understood the NBA. He just tore the NBA up and just attacked relentlessly.
Great offensive player, great defensive player, one of the greats of his generation, one of the greats of all time. We have lost an icon. We have lost a legend of the game, Kobe Bryant, dead tonight at the age of 41.